Hi, my name is Heather Rodriguez. I'm a natural fertility specialist, and my team and I at the Natural Fertility Company help couples who are preparing for conception to prepare for healthier pregnancies, overcome fertility issues, and get ready for medical fertility treatments if that is the route that you are taking. So today's scope: how to get more antioxidants, zinc, and iron from the foods that you're eating. So this is important because we're always talking about fertility diet, how to eat for fertility, but there's specific ways that you can combine your foods to make sure you're actually getting all of the nutrients and absorbing the nutrients from your food. You know, a lot of people talk about how one of the reasons it's important to go organic is because our soil is depleted and we're not getting enough nutrients from the soil. Yes, that's true, but also there are some ways that you can combine your foods to make sure that you're actually getting the nutrients that you need specific for fertility from those foods. So we're going to go ahead and jump right in. So the first group is going to be here's the foods. First, I'm going to say the foods and then what to combine them with and then why. Okay. So the first is sweet potato, carrots, squash, broccoli, asparagus, and mushrooms. So these are all foods that are rich in vitamin A, D, E, and K. Those foods, those types of foods, sweet potatoes, carrots, squash, so it's going to be root vegetables, different squashes, asparagus, and mushrooms, should be eaten with healthy fats. Healthy fats being grass-fed butter, olive oil, coconut oil, and nuts or avocado. So combining those together, the healthy fats with the foods rich in vitamins A, D, and E, is going to help the nutrients to be absorbed better. So the reason is those are fat-soluble nutrients. Vitamin A, D, E, K are all fat-soluble. So in order for them to be absorbed by the body well, fat needs to be eaten with them. So this is going to be important for a couple of reasons for fertility specifically. Vitamin D is needed for hormone production. There's been many studies that show with various fertility issues, specifically PCOS, they found that anyone with PCOS was low in vitamin D. There was not one person in the study with PCOS that had adequate amounts of vitamin D in their system. So you want to make sure when you're eating foods that actually contain vitamin D that you're able to absorb that fat-soluble vitamin. Vitamin E is a nutrient, and I'll repeat them in just one second. Vitamin E is a nutrient that has been found to prevent miscarriage in people who have had recurrent miscarriages, as well as it's a supplement that has been shown to prevent premature rupture of the amniotic sac, of the placenta, or not the placenta, the amniotic sac before your due date, which is really important. It's something that's actually really common that's happening is premature labor, and that being one of the causes. So vitamin E. So vitamin A, D, E, and K, these are fat-soluble vitamins. The foods that are rich in them are going to be sweet potatoes, carrots, squash, broccoli, asparagus, and mushrooms. Eat those foods with fats. Okay? Okay. So the next group is going to be foods that are going to be rich in iron. And these are going to be plant-based foods rich in iron. When you're talking about, or when you're thinking about iron, there's two different types. There's going to be the type that comes from meat, and there's going to be the type that's a plant-based iron. Plant-based iron is great, but you're going to need a little bit of assistance of absorbing that iron. So, for instance, spinach, kale, lentils are very rich in iron. They're vegetable sources that are rich in iron. Dark leafy green vegetables, you can add any of those to the list. You want to eat those foods with vitamin C rich foods. Lemon, oranges, bell peppers, berries. An easy way to do this is we'll make kale, we'll make lentils, and we'll just squirt lemon juice on it. You just take half a lemon, squirt it on there, and that's going to help with the absorption of the iron. Another way you can do it is by adding these greens. Like I make a green smoothie every day. Like I'll put spinach or kale in my smoothie, and there's automatically going to be cherries, or there's going to be some lemon, something that has vitamin C in it to help with the absorption of the iron. Okay, and it's funny because the taste profiles go well together with these combinations. So it is part of the design of helping us to combine our foods because they naturally taste better. You should always have an acid and have a salt when you're making a recipe. It also helps with absorption. Isn't that funny? I think that's really cool. So iron's important for fertility because it's detrimental for ovulation and also having a healthy cycle. When we are working with people who come to us and who are not ovulating, we look at their iron and their iron absorption and their iron consumption. You could be eating all the meat in the world or all the veggies, but you might not be absorbing it as well because of the state of your digestion system. And also, are you combining it with foods that are going to help with absorption? Okay, so foods rich in iron, plant-based foods are going to be spinach, kale, dark leafy greens, lentils, eating that with the vitamin C food. Okay, got that one? And then the next is going to be foods that are rich in zinc. So I'll get to in a minute to what zinc is amazing for, but it's so detrimental for both men and women for fertility. So eat your beef, your turkey, your oysters, the darker meats, and organ meats such as liver. You're going to want to eat those with foods that contain sulfur. Okay, so those are all foods that are really rich in zinc: beef, turkey, and organ meats. The most edible organ meat that I like is going to probably be chicken liver. In the United States, it's not very common to eat organ meats, but in a lot of other countries it is. Oysters also act kind of like an organ meat. They are very, very rich in zinc. They're probably the most dense in zinc out of all food choices, and I think they're really good. And they're also supposedly an aphrodisiac. So eating those foods with foods that contain sulfur. Foods that contain sulfur are going to be the stinky foods. Garlic, onion, and whole eggs. So those are going to be sulfur-containing foods that are going to help with absorption of zinc. God, I don't know off the top of my head right now sources of zinc for vegetarians. I know there are some, but those are the richest sources. So beef, turkey, oysters, and eating those with sulfur-binding foods. Safe to consume a zinc supplement? How much is too much? Zinc is a good supplement to take, yes. And I forgot, oh yeah, in our culture, we don't eat hardly, I mean, beef and turkey, you know, people do eat a lot, but oysters and organ meats, not so much. Okay, so in zinc, or for women, zinc plays a vital role in egg production. A certain amount of zinc is needed for maturing of the eggs and ripening of the egg. Also maintaining proper cervical fluid, which is the transportation highway for the egg and for the sperm to meet and everything to happen. Cervical mucus is very important, and zinc plays a vital role in that. Also hormonal regulation. Zinc is one of the minerals that helps to keep the hormonal levels on track for specific times of the month. So estrogen's needed at a specific time, progesterone's needed, luteinizing hormone. These are all needed to show up at a specific time, and zinc is one of the elements that helps with the choreography of that. I think it's because it's a mineral. Minerals are a major part of the communication system within our body. So that is why I'm thinking partially. Also, according to the Centers of Disease Control, Assisted Reproductive Technology Report, that's a big word, a big name for a study. What they found was low levels of zinc have been directly linked to early miscarriages. So again, this is going, oh, perfect. Beans, nuts, whole grains, and dairy products contain zinc. Thank you. Beans, duh. I should have known that off the top of my head. Thank you for sharing that. So what they're saying is that low levels of zinc, they did study on people who had recurrent miscarriages, and they saw a correlation. It's a correlation study. They saw a correlation study that they were low in zinc. So that's that for you. Men with low zinc levels have been found to have a couple issues with their sperm. The first is immature sperm. Zinc is vital for the development of the tail, development of the outer membrane of the sperm. So those are both very important elements to having healthy sperm. Also, low zinc levels were connected to chromosomal issues with the sperm. So that means that the DNA that is being brought by the sperm was not intact. It was not ideal. Should zinc supplements be continued if you get pregnant? Not more than what's in your prenatal. Unless there's something specific going on, the prenatal is going to probably have enough zinc for pregnancy, I would assume. So those are the three areas to look at. Again, to recap, you're going to want to, when you're eating foods that have antioxidant and nutrients that are fat soluble, eat those with fat. So that's A, D, E, and K. Eat those with healthy fats. The next is going to be foods that are high in iron, specifically plant foods. You want to eat those with vitamin C. Rich foods, and then foods that are rich in zinc, such as beef, turkey, oysters, and organ meats. You want to eat those with garlic, onions, and eggs. And we will add the vegetarian sources, eating those with those things as well. So if you're eating the beans, eating lentils, eating those with garlic and onion are going to help with the absorption of the zinc. So I hope you guys found that helpful. It gives you some tips in when you're thinking of putting together your meals and ideas. And it all comes down to, it's funny because when you look at the list, it still is always coming down to dark leafy green vegetables and beans being so important for so many different nutrients. Do I have this written somewhere? No, I do not. This has not been turned into an article or anything. This is something that I just found through researching this past week in reading. I thought it was so fascinating. So I wanted to make sure you guys were getting the good combo.